You've got a bit of talent.
All right, you have just seen a scene from Hugo, the movie you need to see right now. And right now I have, and it's a pleasure to have him, Martin Scorsese, the director of Hugo, and so many other things. And I can't look at you and introduce this movie without saying, you're the guy, you know, you're the guy who walks the mean streets. You're the Raging Bull, the Taxi Driver, The Departed, all of these, and now you've made a movie for the whole family in 3D. Marty,
Yeah.
what happened? How did this happen?
It's the excitement of the possibility of pushing the limits of storytelling, visual storytelling. I've always been a fan of 3D, way back to '53. Even before
that's
that,
House of Wax.
House of Wax, and then over the years I saw Dial M for Murder a number of times in 3D. It wasn't released at that time in 3D, but I saw everything, and I was fascinated by the stereoscopic image. I used to have these little slides, you know, the Victorian double image, and you'd put it through a device, and you'd look through, and you'd see it you'd see the image in stereo. And I was saying the other day that when I looked at those images, whether it was Teddy Roosevelt and the Rough Riders, or whether it was a Civil War image from Matthew Brady's group, in stereo, you could feel like the weather around them. You could feel maybe what their uniforms felt like, what the texture of the uniform was. It became something for a young person. Suddenly, imagination just went wild that way. And I've always been obsessed with 3D. And
What took you so long?
Well, the technology, once Jim Cameron did it, you see, what I saw, what really got me into it, of course, was about in 2003, I think it was, George Lucas had a symposium up at his ranch, Skywalker Ranch, for a high def, or I should say, digital projection, to convince us to work with digital and high def and that sort of thing. And it was Oliver Stone and Francis Coppola and Spielberg and Michael Mann, Bob Rodriguez, all of us asking questions, looking at stuff, examples. Jim Cameron couldn't come, but he sent a message and also a section of a documentary he did. But his message, the way he spoke about digital projection, was in 3D. And I said, well, he didn't have to be in 3D. I said, well, why not? You know. And then, of course, he did Avatar, and then suddenly everybody was interested in 3D. When my daughter, who was 12 years old yesterday, when we told her we're going to make this film, because she loved the book, and she was with a couple of friends of hers, and they all said, it's in 3D, right? And so I spoke to Graham King, and he said, well, let's inquire. And so we did. We did some research into it, and then we wound up Bob Richardson shooting it, Dante Ferretti doing the sets, you know. Thelma, my editor, was there because she had to, what does this mean? It means 3 or 4 times the amount of work. But the more we got into it, the more excited we became by it. But I said, what if we just shoot it? Why don't I just shoot it the way I normally would make a film, in a sense? Because I was telling everyone, there's prejudice against 3D. Yes, there's some technical issues. Yes, the glasses. Yes, sometimes in 1953, it would go out of sync. You don't have that anymore. But we have to remember that, well, first of all, most people see in stereo, you know, so depth is very much a part of our lives in storytelling.
We're walking around in 3D.
Yeah, we're walking around in 3D, and if we'll talk to a person, there's something that happens in space with that person.
Your eyebrows have always been 3D to me.
Yeah. Well, they got a little bit covered now with the glasses.
It says still, but that's it, you know, yeah.
But so that, and then the idea too is that we, with the 3D was interesting to me because every time we set up a shot, designed basically beforehand, new things came up. Basically, we had to relearn and rethink everything that we had thought we knew, of course.
If the entire world was one big machine, I couldn't be an extra part. I had to be here for some reason. And that means you have to be here for some reason too.
But more than just the excitement of 3D, you're dealing with children.
Yes. You know, I have 3 children. My eldest daughters, they're in the 40s and the 30s. It's but this little one turned 12 yesterday. So in the past 12 years, having a child at the age of 56, 57, the perception of the world around you and through the child is very different from when you have one at 21 or 22 or 40 even. And so you have to sort of figure a way to guide them a little bit. And so I started thinking very much that way. If you're going to show them classic films, you don't say they're classic films. Say, Dad's going to look at some movies. You want to come? You know, you can't. Otherwise, it becomes a chore.
The thing is, it's not just you who have all this film history and represented and being a pioneer in it. You just made a movie about it, because Hugo isn't just a movie in 3D. With kids, it's in a Paris train station in 1931, and you shot it on a sound stage in London or in somewhere in England.
Yeah, Shepperton Studio, yeah.
So you've created this world just like one of the characters in your movie, George Méliès, a true pioneer of cinema, did.
But, you know, the whole idea of that story is so great. The boy is isolated. He's looking for a family. And ultimately what brings him together with everybody is the mechanism of the machine, of the cinema machine itself, and what that machine creates. And so I had some resonance to my own life in that way. But the thing is about Méliès and all, these guys were making it up as they went along. It's happening right now with the technology. The last cameras have been built. No more cameras will be built. Arri and the two other major companies have stopped making film cameras. The technology is what it is. It's now, they term it digital. What does that mean? That brings in a whole new situation with conservation of digital, migrating, they call it. You know, but it also opens. I mean, that time of cinema is over. The actual production. Now, some may mourn it. I do, but this opens up, just by doing Hugo, particularly in high def 3D, it opens up a whole new world of visual storytelling that can go anywhere we want, you know. So it's a different medium in a way, but you're still telling a story, right? So let's figure out how to use that medium. Because what happens with the 3D in Hugo, I think, is interesting, because the actors become, I try to immerse the audience into the story rather than having you look into a box of 3D.